Welcome back, fellas. So it's interesting. I've lived a very interesting life, and there's a big lesson that I've had to learn over this time that I believe can help you a lot. And that is staying in your lane. It's a very interesting and it can be a very nuanced topic because it's very simple. It's like, hey, do exactly what you're doing. Don't have tunnel vision, go straight on. But there's some nuance to it. You have to understand that staying in your lane is absolutely important because consistency is what's going to lead to results. If you do the same thing consistently over time, you will see results. But if you're doing the wrong thing, right, and putting consistency into the wrong thing, it's like basically driving in the wrong direction 100 miles an hour and realizing that you made it to the wrong destination once you get there versus figuring out what the real path is that you need to take and then going 100 miles an hour. So the video right now is just going to go over my experience with staying in my own lane and having shiny object syndrome, which most of you might have because we live in the age of the internet, where the internet essentially gives us so many perceived options of different business models, different careers. You see a bunch of people who seem like they're millionaires and they're killing it, but it's all staged. So you want to go their path. You see Forex people, you see crypto people, e-com, you see drop shipping. You see drop shipping is kind of like e-com. You see all kinds of different models and you're just trying to pick the right thing, right? And I totally understand because that's how I was, right? I would jump around at so many different things, and I'm still fighting that today because when you feel like you have the ability to do a lot and have the talent to be able to achieve a lot, you end up trying so many things that you end up achieving nothing, right? And so, big thing that I've learned is that you need to pick one path, find a greater mission, right? So, there needs to be almost an esoteric mission behind what you're doing. So, it could be elevating the spirit of men, you know, in the universe, right? Like just things that are like a lot higher level that are deeper than just surface level things. Like, oh yeah, you can get a nice car, you can get the new Mercedes AMG, you could get the new Ferrari. Yeah, those are great goals, materialistically cool, but you need to have some sort of an esoteric mission that goes beyond yourself and is more of a service to other people. Once you find that mission, then you work down and you start to find like what are those things that you're really good at that people ask you about, right? And so you start to understand like, oh, tech is a great lane for me because I understand technology and I understand the purpose of it. I can utilize that, I can generate money from that, and I can use that to do X, Y, and Z. Right. Or maybe it's trading, right? You understand charts very well, you pick up on patterns, and that's the lane that you want to take, right? All under the umbrella of inspiring mankind to be the best version of themselves. That's honestly my mission. That's why I'm saying this. But everyone has a different mission, right? So all I'm saying is you need to find a path and you need to go with it and you need to vertically integrate in that path. That's another thing I've learned because what I've experienced. So background on me, I went to college. I went to Babson College for my business degree, business administration. It is the top 10 colleges in the country right now, which is amazing. And when I got my degree, I ended up, I was in fitness for a while I was in school. It was a great side hustle for me while I was there. And I did a lot within that space, right? I kind of blew up a little bit in that world. But I ended up wanting to go into tech because that was just, again, shiny object syndrome. I had stayed in Silicon Valley for a little while. I got really just like obsessed with the tech world and I wanted to get in there. And so when I ended up going to work for a tech company when I graduated, I started learning a lot, right? I did business development, did a little bit of just, end to end sales, just working with different stakeholders and working a little bit in marketing as well. Like I was doing a lot and I learned a lot. And instead of just staying in that lane, I was like, hey, I want to go start a tech company because that was the thing. I had an idea, I really wanted to pursue it. So I literally quit that job and started a tech company, like from scratch. I think I had like 30 to 40 grand in the bank just chilling, like just saved up to pursue this. So I thought I was gonna stretch it out for a full year, right? So I'm working on this tech company. It was a talent marketplace where like companies could go hire talent through other people's networks and pay them a referral fee. We take a percentage of the referral fee. It seemed like a genius model at the time, right? And it probably could have worked out. But I worked on it for 3 years and I was doing it. And I was also doing side things as well as we were raising money. Went through Techstars, which is a tech accelerator. And it ended up failing, mostly because of timing, because companies stopped hiring back in 2022. And I just was lost, man. Like, I didn't know really what I wanted to do. And I thought, hey, this is my lane that I'm going to stay in. But I share this story because I've done so many things. I've built a lead gen agency that's doing 6 figures a month right now. I'm not in it anymore. My other business partners are still running it. I ended up leaving to go start my tech company because I was doing this agency while I was working at the tech company. And so all of these experiences, man, like I see massive progress very quickly in different things. And I know you also see the same thing where you'll try something and you start seeing momentum and then you'll jump to something else because you just want to go try something else. And while this is cool when you're super, super young, as you get older, you really want to like find and establish just a path for yourself that makes sense that you can stick to for 10 to 20, 30 years. Because that's why I asked you, I was like, hey, what is your mission? What is the esoteric mission that you have, and what are the different vehicles you can use to be able to get yourself to that mission, right? And your vehicles can be different talents that you have, different skills, the value that you provide to other people, right? How do you acquire capital? What value are you providing to society to acquire capital to use it to do other things? So that's how I look at it. And staying in your lane is so important because once you find that one thing, right? And it can be like an umbrella of a thing. It could be, hey, I'm really, for me, I thought it was fitness, right? And it still kind of is. But I also started to learn that fitness is a low leverage activity, right? In terms of business. It can be high leverage when you look at like, a supplement company or like things that are like more product based. But when it comes to a service based, when you see fitness coaching, just specifically fitness coaching, there is a low there's a low threshold to how high you can go. So you can put in a ton of inputs and not get many outputs, right? And so that's where you have to look at like higher leverage activities that when you put in certain inputs, you get massive returns on it, right? So that's where you have to find that vehicle that makes the most sense, that you can make the most impact. And so I say all of this to say you are on a path right now and you feel like you're lost. You don't really necessarily know what you want to do. But the one thing that you can do is pick something, do it for a year, like completely. Pick something to where it has the highest potential for success for you. Do it for a whole year. Don't think about anything else. Don't go on side hustle quests. Don't go on side quests like and do a whole bunch of different things. Just stick to that one thing, right? And especially if it's generating you money, put more time into it so that more money can come back to you. But stay in your lane. Everyone has their own talent. Everyone has their own thing. I like to say it this way, right? Like when you're driving, a lot of people think about it. The way that they navigate through life is they drive straight in their lane, but they're taking a glance at other lanes, right, to see which lane is moving faster. So they want to move to the next lane, and then when they turn and they try to move to the next lane because they thought it was faster than the lane that they were in, they end up going into a slower lane because maybe that lane was slow before. It sped up a little bit, and so they saw that initial impressions. Then they go into that lane again and they realize that, oh, there's now traffic. So now I'm stuck. Then they go look at their original lane and it's speeding up again because someone else is in it and they're doing a lot better from where they started. And they both started at the same time. So now they move into this other lane and then it becomes slow again. And so they keep jumping around into different lanes because it's perceived that it's a faster route to their destination than it is. Right. And a lot of people, I'm sure you lived this life before, so you understand what I'm saying. So for me, the big thing that I've been focusing on in this season of my life is really just finding one lane and just going all in on that lane, right? Still, you can have different aspects to yourself that aren't necessarily attached to that lane, but you're not dedicating each of those aspects as an individual career path, right? They're more of maybe their hobbies, maybe they're just a lifestyle thing, but you got to find something that has the highest leverage for you so that when you start moving and you start gaining momentum, you're moving faster and faster. Because the worst thing you can do is find a low leverage activity that may not have the highest upside and you're trying to go 100 miles an hour there and you realize that, wow, I am not making as much progress as if I went to this specific thing, right? And then now you start jumping around because you're just scrambling, right? So really take the time to think like, hey, what are the high, and a lot of people, it's about money, right? So they think about, hey, what will make me the most money? The way I like to look at it is this, and you don't need to take this for advice. This is just how I look at it. If I'm looking at some of the wealthiest people in the world, I see that they had a base in either real estate, either tech, oil, manufacturing, uh, so many of these older fields that are unsexy, but they print money. So if you understand that those are the different arenas that are generating the most billionaires, the most millionaires, then enter those lanes, learn, grow, and build within that, right? It's a proven formula. Now, you will have people like content creators, and if that's a passion of yours, like that's a passion of mine right now, this is something I want to do as a full-time thing, but I need to make sure that I have cash flow coming in to be able to do all of this stuff and to be able to have the time, to be able to have the environment to do this type of stuff, to upgrade all the different things. I'm probably going to get a mic once this thing gets a lot better, like in terms of my audience, and like I'm just testing the waters right now, right? But again, the whole point is just staying in your lane and having different facets of yourself kind of merge into that lane. And the minute you start staying in your lane, the minute you start consistently improving and doing better, that's the minute everything starts to fall in place and you start to move a lot faster. You start to gain momentum. One thing you don't want to do is switch lanes, because now you'll lose momentum completely. And then you're going to have to go back to that lane again, because you'll realize that was the original lane and you've lost all momentum, and you now have to go back to zero, rebuild again. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it or improve as you go, but never look at somebody else's lane. Never compare yourself to another person and move in their direction, because everyone has a different story. Everybody has a different origin story, right? And your origin story will lead you to a specific direction, maybe taking a different path, but you may get to the same destination as someone else. But you have to know that you have a unique story, and you just need to just be perceptive of what's around you and the opportunities that fall into your lap, and really just capitalize on them, right? So stay in your lane, really, really figure out what that lane is so that you're not moving 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction. And once you realize that it's the right lane, go all the way, go 150, go 200 miles an hour and achieve what you want to achieve. Then you can go to a different lane and figure something else out, right? But always finish the destination before you change the lane. So hope you got some value from this. Like, comment, subscribe. More videos like this every day, of course. Comment any questions that you have that I can answer. I really like just giving advice and just talking about my story as well. So I appreciate y'all and hope to see y'all on the next video. Catch you.